It shows the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. So a mentor talks to you. That's how I think about it. And a sponsor talks about you most of the time in rooms that you're not even in. That's how I always think about a sponsor. They can go before you. They can be in a room. People might be saying, hey, we're working on XYZ project. And a sponsor is like, you know what? Sally Sue, yeah, she would be really good for that. Let's bring her on, and everybody's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, we're gonna bring Sally Sue on, right? So they can speak about you when you're not even there, and like I said, they have so much influence that they're able to make things happen for you. Let me bring my slide up here. All right, so the talk for today is mentors give advice, sponsors open doors. Here's why you need both. And then the mini thought is mentors are great, sponsors can take you to the next level. And the reason why I was thinking about this, I was talking to somebody, they wanted to make a career switch, a career change. And they were asking me about mine. My degree is in logistics. And, I'm in training now, right? So there was a switch that happened at some point. And so I was talking to them through that and the importance of having a mentor. But then when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? It was really a sponsor that really opened the door for me. We spend so much time talking about mentors, which they are equally important, but sponsors are important too. So I said, you know what, this would be a good talk for this week to shine some light on sponsors, what they are, and then how they can help. So that's what we'll talk about today. So in episode one, you remember I was telling you guys about my journey, right? And where we left off is that I was in Bentonville, Arkansas, and I had my first big girl job. Corporate America is a project. What was I? A project logistics manager, I think. And so I did that, but about a year in, guys, I felt like I made a mistake. I was like, I don't enjoy this. I guess I felt I would be more, in the warehouse and in the field and doing things. But really, my role was all about being behind a computer desk and looking at spreadsheets all day and analyzing how can we get more product on the trucks and it was cool, but I wasn't enjoying it, and I looked around at my counterparts and, how much joy they had, coming early, staying late, and doing all and analyzing all this stuff, and I was like, I just don't feel that way about this job, and then I'm like, "Man, am I gonna do this for the rest of my life, the rest of my career?" And so I started to think about what and then also, I just graduated. I just spent 4 years getting this degree, so I'm like, "Man," but I was like, it's gotta be something else. I don't know if I can stick with this. And so I don't even know why I thought this. I can't really remember what led up to it, but I really thought I would enjoy, teaching. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, I know I enjoy helping people. If I'm in Walmart and somebody asks where what aisle of the cookies on, I get excited. Like, let me tell you. Right. So I really enjoy giving people instruction and direction. I would be over our team building events, community service. Like I really enjoy that type of stuff. So I said maybe I could like teach, but in corporate though, not like in the classroom. I don't have grace for kids or babies, but I'm talking about on the adult level. um, and so I found out that in Walmart, they have a facilitation team, right? Because when you go to most companies, you might have to take some type of training, or the new hires have to be trained, and there's normally like trainers, people that do that. So I was like, maybe I would be good, and I would enjoy doing that. But again, I had no background. Like all my background was in logistics, supply chain, all my internships, my degree. I had nothing. So I'm like, man, how could I make this transition? And so I did have a mentor, And my mentor did tell me, I was gonna need to get some type of additional, education, not necessarily going back to school, but, maybe a certification, um, you know, anything that would help me understand training and the science of training, and so that I could speak the language and, know how to develop training courses and all that type of stuff 'cause I didn't know anything. And so I started to look into that, and I did actually decide to enroll and go back to get my master's in adult education, so that I could just understand the science and philosophy behind it all. And then the second thing they did, they suggested that I could shadow someone in the training department. So maybe I could reach out and say, "Hey, I'm interested in what you guys do. Can I spend an hour with you or the day with you to just see what a day in the life of a trainer is like?" So I thought that was a good idea too. And then he also told me that they have something called facilitation school at Walmart. And so, like I said, Walmart, I mean, it's thousands of employees, and they have various different trainings, new hires, leadership, all type of stuff. And the training team, is only but so big. And so what they did was they designed this facilitation school where everyday people that are in other jobs can go through the school. It's like a 3-month thing. Um, you get certified and then you can help them train. Now you still gotta do your day job, but maybe like 2 or 3 times a year, maybe, you could come over and help facilitate a new hire class or whatever, right? So I was like, "Oh, that would be perfect." That way I could still stay in my current job, but then I could kinda test it out and do the facilitation thing to see if it's something that I would really wanna do. And so, really good advice from my mentor says that, "Okay, Imma go back to school, Imma shadow somebody, and then Imma try to get into that facilitation school." Okay. So that's the advice my mentor gave me. All right. So then, at this time, I'm probably like 23, 24. Okay. And I got nominated. They did this like 30 under 30, for millennials, at Walmart and Sam's Club. So these are like young, upcoming, bright, people from the next generation. So I was a part of that, and of being a part of that, we this is our SVP of people. Her name was Sharon Orlop at the time, and she was the SVP. We call it people, it's HR. Walmart just calls it people because it sounds a little better. So Sam's Club had about 40,000 associates, like, across the US. And so Sharon was the top. So she was over all of HR. The buck stops with her, right? And so very, very nice, sweet lady. Never seen her without a smile on her face. Like really, really good hearted person. And so, very busy, but she took her time to meet with each one of us, and she gave us 30 minutes of her time, which she did not have to do, and which was very nice of her. I mean, she literally coulda got us all in one meeting at one time and said, "Good job, keep it going. Y'all doing great." But no, she took her time to meet with each one of us. And so, it was my turn to meet with her. So I went in to meet with her. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have said this, but when you're young, sometimes you're naive, and so I probably shouldn't have told her I wasn't enjoying my job, but, I was like, I so she, "How things going?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool, good manager, great team, enjoy the work, but I just don't know if this is what I wanna do long term, like, I think I wanna kinda get into training." And so she was like, "Okay, tell me more. Why do you feel that way? What are the aspects of training that you enjoy?" And we really started to talk about it like that. And so she was like, "Okay, so you think you want to get into training?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I want to get into training." So remember, my mentor gave me three really good pieces of advice, right? Get some additional training, shadow, and then a facilitation school. So this is the difference, right? This is what a sponsor can do. All right. So she was like, "You want to do training?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to do training." She was like, "All right, hold on." So we're sitting side by side, like side by side, right? Picks up the phone. She picks up the phone. "Hey, senior director of the training department. It's me, your girl Sharon. She didn't say it like that, but I'm just paraphrasing. Yeah, I got this young lady beside me, really bright. Says she wants to get into training, explore it a little bit more. So I wanted to see if she could set up some time with you to learn more about the department. You free Thursday? You free Thursday? Yeah, she free Thursday. You gonna give her calendar invite? Okay, cool. Bet. Right? So I was like, dang, it was that easy. That's the power of a sponsor. Now, mentor was great because I did need to work on those things. But the difference is a sponsor can open doors. Okay. The weight of their voice and the influence, whatever they say, whatever they ask, people say, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Okay. He wasn't on the phone asking no questions. Now, who is she? Now, what department she? You want me to meet with her? Okay. All right, got it. We'll do. Boom. See what I'm saying? Sponsors have weight, they hold weight, their voice carries weight. Okay. That's the big difference. And so, sure enough, I met with the senior director of the training department, met with him. He was great, had my questions prepared, everything. We had a very good conversation. And so he said, I'll let you meet with some of my managers. So I met with some of the managers on the team. Again, just learned a lot about the organization and everything like that. But then it was like, where was I going to go from there? So, um, sorry, y'all, I'm struggling. My throat is dry. And so I kind of just forgot about it, right? Because, that was pretty much the extent of it. But at least they knew my name, my face, and I got to meet with them. So kind of forgot about it. Almost a year passes by, okay? And then it's time for us to do our performance review. So a performance review, you meet with your manager at the end of the year, and it's just a way for them to look and give you an evaluation if you did everything you said you were going to do for that year. And did you not meet those expectations? Did you meet it, or did you go over and beyond, basically? And our performance reviews had two parts. So there was your job performance, and then the other part of it was personal development. So you have to pick something about yourself that you want to work on or whatever. It could be, for me, I feel like it was always public speaking, which is so crazy that I'm like on the mic right now. But that was just always something that I just felt like I was not good at. So that was like always one for me. And I think I told him that, oh yeah, so I said I wanted to get better at it. In a way I thought I could get better at it was facilitating more, thus the facilitation school, right? So I didn't tell him I hate this job and I want to leave, but I kind of put it like that. Like, yeah, I think if I do the facilitation school, I can go over there a couple times a year. I can get better, get more confidence. So he was like, yep, I like it. So that was on my job performance, but I hadn't done anything personal development, I'm sorry. I don't know what was happening that year, but I just hadn't done anything. So I'm like, crap, it's coming up like next week. So I'm like, what am I going to do to show that I've been making progress, in this area? I was like, I know. I do know the people, some managers in the training department. So I'm going to set up a meeting with them, or one of them at least. That way I can say, oh yeah, I met with them and I asked them about the facilitation school and these are the dates and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, cool, that's my game plan. So I set up a meeting with that manager again. I don't even know what why I told him I needed to meet with him again. I don't know what I made up. Can you tell me everything you told me the last time? I don't know what I said. But anyway, so I met with him, just ask him some random questions just so I could say, I met. And at the end of it, he was like, we have 3 open positions. And I know, you shown your interest before, you have your interest now. So why don't you apply? So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So again, I mean, I didn't have any background or anything, but I decided to go ahead and apply. I was enrolled in school in my master's program by that time. So I decided to I didn't have anything to lose, but so I had to, like, overhaul my resume because it was all the supply chain, stuff, my cover letter. I just had to do a lot to kinda get prepared so I could turn in this application. And, so I turned in my application, had, like, 3 or 4 interviews, studied as much as I could, got as much research as I could about training and everything, and I was in some classes and stuff. And so I feel like I did well enough, uh, and, yeah, I ended up getting a job as an instructional designer. So that is how I crossed over from logistics to instructional design. So I didn't have any of the background, but how many people know I had Sharon, right? So that credibility really helped me in terms of trying to bridge that gap. So this is little 24-year-old me. And, so that is how I switched over, and I was an instructional designer on the training team, and I've been in training ever since. Absolutely loved it. I love designing training, which is more of what I do now, as well as facilitation and training. Um, I love it. So and the other cool thing about it was I got to be in a lot of training videos and training photo shoots. And so this is one of the first ones I did. I was like a fake store manager or whatever, because we had to roll out some store manager training. Like this is what you do, when you're a store manager or whatever. And so my name was Mitzi, so I had my little badge and everything, and it was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed it, and I thought this was funny. I wanted to show y'all this. So what happened was we started filming this, I'm just making this up, maybe in March, and I can't remember what happened. I do not know what happened, but for some reason we stopped filming and then we didn't pick it back up until October. I don't know if it was a budget thing or what. Well, in between March and October, I lost a ton of weight. I'm talking about 30 pounds or more. And so, if you can tell, the picture on the right is when I was bigger, you know what I'm saying? By the time we came back to shoot it, this picture on the left, I had lost all this weight. You couldn't really tell for real unless you knew. Um, but I say it's a editor's worst nightmare because when you're editing video footage, you want everything to look the exact same, like it's all one take. Right? And, that's why they get on Tyler Perry sometimes because in one scene, my hair is like this, and then you cut the next time we come to this scene, this part is over there or something, so something changed. You want everything to look the exact same way, and so that was a huge, problem. But, they couldn't get anybody else, because, they started off with me. But anyway, that was just funny. I thought I would show y'all that. Okay, so anyway, just to kind of bring this to a close, I hope that story was able to shine the light on the difference. But I wanted to just these are a couple other notes as well. But that shows the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. So a mentor talks to you. That's how I think about it, and a sponsor talks about you most of the time in rooms that you're not even in. That's how I always think about a sponsor. They can go before you. They can be in a room. People might be saying, "Hey, we're working on XYZ project," and a sponsor is like, "You know what? Sally Sue, yeah, she would be really good for that. Let's bring her on." And everybody's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna bring Sally Sue on." Right. So they can speak about you when you're not even there. And like I said, they have so much influence that they're able to make things happen for you. So mentors, and again, none of this is all the time. Like mentors are only this and sponsors are only that. But this is just some guidelines. So a mentor normally is somebody more in middle management, right? So again, they have great advice and everything, but they might not be able to make things shake, give you a job, open a door like a sponsor can. A sponsor is much more visible and influential, like a Sharon, like I was saying, SVP, EVP, VP, level. and they've normally been in the company for a while. They have a lot of relationships. They can pick up the phone and call people if people pick up, type of thing, right? A mentor is more of a guide and advises you, and they're really trying to help you with your personal development and professional development. Like in my case, like you want to do this, you want to do that. Okay, first of all, you need to read this book or take this course, or have you considered this, right? So they're trying to help you work on you, and a sponsor is more trying to help you advance your career. So um I look at it in a couple different ways. It could be a project around a project, right? So maybe, like I said, there's some project that's going on and they can help to get you on that project to get you experience that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten, or would have taken you 5 to 7 years to get. They can fast track you, boom, get you that experience, and then also get you the visibility with the players, in the room. Sponsors can also be for a season, right? So it could be maybe 3 year time period. Maybe your goal, they see some potential in you, and they say, you know what, she could be or he could be a really good GM for us one day, a general manager. Okay, so if he's gonna be a general manager, he needs to have this type of experience. He needs to know how to deal with accounts, he needs to know how to deal with people and something else, right? So they'll say, okay, every year and a half, we're gonna move him. So we're gonna have him here, and then after that year is up, we're gonna move him over here, and this year we're gonna move him over there. Because y'all have seen that, right? You working at your company, it's somebody that starts the same time you start, and then you turn your head, and they're like a director. You turn your head again, and they're running the whole company, and you're like, what happened? That's how it happens, right? Somebody sees something in them, and then they're like, all right, let's get them the experience quickly so we can get them to this ultimate role where we see them at. So it can be a season, maybe like 3 to 5 years or something. Or it could be a lifetime. That's pretty rare, but there are some people that are just super invested in a person, and they just really get pleasure out of seeing that person progress, over the lifetime of their career. But most of the time, it's going to be a project or a season, or it can be a one time thing, like it was with me. It was that 30 under 30 project. Met with Sharon. I don't know if I ever talked to her again, but yeah, it could just be something very simple like that. And then, of course, with mentors, it's more informal. You're probably meeting over lunch or coffee or something like that. But again, sponsors is going to be more in a more professional type of a setting. So, mentors think, here's what I did. Now you go do it. And then sponsors are more, I believe in them. Let me make a call. Okay. So that is the difference between the two. So you might be wondering, well, how in the world can I get a sponsor? Let me tell you. So the thing about a sponsor though is finding a sponsor, it's 100% organic. It's not like you can just go up to somebody and say, "Can you be my sponsor?" Like you can a mentor. There's normally no program of sponsorship. There's no, like at our company, we have all these programs where you can get mentors, but nothing for a sponsor. It's very organic, but the number one thing I tell everybody is that in the foundation is you have to be excellent at your job and operate in excellence. That's number one. You have to be killing it in your current job. You have to be otherworldly in your current job, right? Because they are looking, these sponsors, they are looking for the brightest and the best young and upcoming talent, essentially. And so you really need to be great at your job so that you can stand out above everybody else, because that is how they will notice you. So you really have to be great at your job. And that doesn't necessarily mean working harder, right? Because some people might think, okay, well, I'm gonna come in at 6 a.m. and leave at midnight. Like, no, that's not it either. Um, Again, you just have to, I kind of look at it like branding yourself, right? So for example, everybody in my family knows if you're having a baby shower, a wedding, or anything like that, you gotta call my mama, right? Because she is great at transforming spaces, right? She can the decor, all of it, and on a budget too. She is really good at that. So she's branded herself in that way. If you need some decoration or something, call my mama. Okay. So same thing at work. You can brand yourself in a certain way. Maybe you brand yourself as a thought leader, right? So maybe you're really good at saying, "Hey guys, I know you guys are saying this, and I was in this other meeting and they were saying this. What if we brought them together and da da da?" You're really good at helping the business think in a different way and tying themes together. And people really appreciate that because most people are just there to go along to get along. But if you can really be a thought leader, that's something that people will take notice to. Um, Maybe you're innovative. That's another thing. Maybe you're always suggesting new tools and software. That's a way that I really try to brand myself is to be innovative. I know we've done it like this for 10 years, but there's new technology. What about this? What about that? Actually, last year I brought a new technology to our team. Because, like I said, I designed training, and there was this new platform that was getting ready to go out to the whole company. And so we had to make all of these job aids. So, if you buy something from the store, it comes with a pamphlet, a manual, step one, step two. So that's what my team does as well. So it's a very manual process for us to have to create those documents, step one, step two, step three. Well, I found this tool where, let's say, for example, I wanted to show you how to go on Amazon and buy something, right? So I'll say step one, open up your browser, put in www.amazon.com, click search. Step two, well, this tool, what it does is you actually do the steps. So I would actually go on there, click search, um, type in something I want to buy, and the tool records all the movements I'm doing. And then it takes it and puts it in a job aid for you. It has all the screenshots, the step one, two, three. So you could create a job aid in like 10 to 15 minutes. Whereas it was taking us a couple days, because we were doing that, but we had to stop and go to meetings and get lunch. So that was a tool that I introduced to our team. They loved it. And now the whole department is using it, right? So I try to brand myself as, if you want something new, if you want a new way of doing something, call Tanisha because she can figure that out. All right. So that's a way you can bring yourself. Efficiency is another thing. So that's another. Those are like my two: innovation and and efficiency. So I'm always trying to find an easier way to do it. Like the example I just gave you. What's a quicker, easier way to do it? So those are just some ways that you can. It's not, like I said, about working harder, but do your job in excellence and then brand yourself in a way that you stand out above others. And that's how you can get noticed. And when you think about branding yourself, it's think about just who you naturally are in your everyday life. It doesn't have to, like, okay, I gotta be this other person. Like in my everyday life, efficiency is my middle name. I'm always trying to see how can we do something easier, work smarter. So it's the same thing in corporate for me. For a funny example is my oldest son, he just started singing in the little choir, sunshine band or whatever at church, right? And so they sing every fifth Sunday. And so whenever it's time for them to sing that month, they have choir rehearsal every Wednesday, right? Like, cool. So got them to choir rehearsal. And then the Sunday that they're supposed to sing, our church starts at 10:30 a.m. They wanted the kids to be there at 7:30. And I was like, 7:30 who? Where? Why? Because they were gonna be singing, like, the adult choir is there too, and they were just gonna be in the front singing, in front of the adult choir. And I was just like, they're kids, like, who cares? As long as they're up there, like, who cares if they know the words or whatever? You know what I'm saying? And that's the way my brain works. But then I always think I'm tripping because nobody else says anything. Everybody else is just gonna comply. And when something doesn't make sense, I can't help myself. I'm normally very reserved. introverted. I don't, contrary to popular belief, I don't talk that much. But when something doesn't make sense, I can't help myself. So I had to ask the man that was over all the music and stuff. I was like, I got 2 other kids, like, it's a lot for us to get to church at 10:30 with a 2-year-old, a 8-month-old, and a 7-year-old, plus me and my husband. So I'm like, I can't, because you had to get your kid there at 7:30 and you couldn't leave them unattended. So I'm just logistically, I'm just like, that's not gonna work. I was like, I can get him there at 10. Like, is that cool? You know what I'm saying? So we compromised and he said, okay, I understand you can have him there at 9:30. So we're in a group me, right, with the rest of the parents in the children's church or whatever. And then somebody was like, hey, I don't know what happened, but he said we can get the kids there at 9:30. So everybody was like, yay, thank gosh. Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't know how I was gonna do that. So I was like, you all are welcome. Um, but yeah, I say all that to say that was a tangent. But I say all that to say that's who I am in my everyday life. I'm always about how can we work smarter? How can we do it more efficiently? And if it doesn't make sense, I'm just going to raise my hand. So it's very organic for me to do that at work. You see what I'm saying? So just think about how you are in your regular life and bring that over to the corporate side, and it'll help you to stand out. The second thing, building relationships. And I cringe to say this because, like I said, I'm more introverted. I hate networking. Don't ever invite me to a social, a mixer, anything where you gotta stand around and talk to people. I'm out, right? But, you know, if you just go to work and go home, there is a potential for you to be overlooked. So, if the company is having, not even the company, it could be, your team is having a lunch, or the department is having a little dinner, or there's a golfing event or something. Not saying that you gotta do all the things, but do some of the things. That way people can get to know you, outside of your job. They can get to know your personality, um, and things like that. And then also, you might not be able to get a meeting with the SVP, right? But the SVP is gonna be at that golfing tournament. The SVP is gonna be at that lunch, at that fundraiser. So again, it's just a chance to mingle and get people to know you. Because people got to know you exist, right? Number 3 is be clear about your goals. People can't help you if they don't know what you're trying to do. Okay. So first of all, you got to be clear on what you're trying to do. I knew I wanted to get over the training. I was very clear about that. So when I met with Sharon, I was able to articulate that. This is what I want to do. She was able to help me. Now, if I went there and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do logistics, but I really don't know. I really don't know what I want to do. She couldn't help me, right? So you got to get clear about what you want to do and then make that known to others. Maybe you're a level 1 and you want to be, and one day you want to be a level 3 or whatever. I don't know, whatever your job might be. Okay, let people know that. Yeah, that this is where I'm trying to go. Okay, cool. And they can make sure you can get the experiences that you need to get up there, or the development, or the mentor, or whatever that you need. So let your manager know and let your mentor know. So again, like my mentor was able to help me as well to get there. So you got to be clear about what it is you want. So right now I've been in training for a while, and what I want to do next is to go into talent. And so my one of my homegirls, she was like a director in talent, and she was actually leaving the company and going to work somewhere else. So I met with her, and she said, you know what? She knows I want to be in talent. So she was telling me that we have this thing called Development Week at my job. It's coming up. And as a part of Development Week, a lot of the people in upper management, the VP, SVP, all those people, they're going to be offering office hours where they will meet with anybody that wants to meet with them about anything. So she was like, yeah, that would be a good opportunity for you to meet with the VP of the training department and let her know, you want to get into talent. Because the VP of training knows me, but she might not know that I want to get into talent. So she can't help me if she doesn't know that, right? So I'm going to meet with her, and let her know that's kind of my next step. And then she'll have her eyes open. So if one of her colleagues in talent or whatever, there's any opportunities, I'll be top of mind, right? So let people know what you want to do so they can help. And then last but not least, be someone they're proud to sponsor. Because you got to remember, a sponsor, they're putting their credibility on the line for you, right? And so imagine if Sharon had got me that meeting with that senior director in training. Imagine if I showed up 15 minutes late. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have any questions. You know what I'm saying? That would have made her look bad. So you want to be a good person anyway, but especially when somebody's putting their neck out for you, you want to make sure you're doing everything above board and you're having good character and good integrity. It's happened to all of us. We've all been sponsors, right? We've all put our name and our credibility out for somebody. For some, I'm not even talking about corporate working. I'm just talking about in life for something. Like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She good for it. And then that person burnt you, had you looking crazy, right? We've all been there. Where you vouch for somebody, you get them in to do something, and they burn you. So yeah, just make sure that you're somebody they can be proud of, and your successes are their successes, and so that really excites them. Because what I think, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, sponsors, like I said, are normally at a higher level, and so they've done all the things, they've amassed this influence and all this stuff. So I believe like what makes them excited is finding a little protege. I feel like that's what this is all about. So it's like, okay, who's doing, oh, that person looks like they're really going to be doing a lot of good stuff. I see what they're doing. All right, cool. And then they kind of bring you along, right? And then every time you succeed, they're like, yeah, see, yeah, Sally Sue, yeah, I found her. Yeah, that was me. And so I feel like that's kind of what it's about. And I'm not saying it in Sharon's case because, that was just a one-time thing. But if it's a longer 3 to 5 year type of thing, I feel like they're really excited to bring people along and have little proteges, and every time they hit right, maybe that person does do well, that person does end up being a general manager, they get another notch in their belt. Like, oh man, she is really good at finding talent, and they find somebody else and find somebody else, and so I think that's what it's all about. But anyway, they want to be proud that they chose you and you did well in your field. So yeah, so make sure that if somebody does vouch for you, that you make them proud, and don't do anything wrong. I mean, I remember when I was at Walmart, it was this one guy that some people just do too much, and he just thought he was all this and that. And come to find out, he was using like the company credit card to pay his bills, and then trying to, reimburse the company on the back. It was crazy. He got fired, but don't do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's sticking their neck out for you. And like I said, I know that I'm talking about this from a corporate standpoint, but we've all been sponsors, like I just said. Um, we've all been sponsored. You even think about, back in the day, going to the club, right? You don't want to stand in line, you don't want to pay. So you like, hey, I'm with Ray Ray. You know what I'm saying? So you get there, telling you with Ray Ray, they look on the list, like, all right, you can go ahead in. You know what I'm saying? So you skip the line, and you don't gotta pay. You see what I'm saying? So there's always in situations, not even just in corporate, where people can help you fast track, right? And that's what this is really about. All right, so that's about all I have. But I also want to say that burnout is real too. I know when I first started, I was all about not necessarily climbing a corporate ladder per se, but I was very serious about corporate, and I got to get a mentor, and I got to be in this group so I can get this visibility and do that and da 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 da. Da. And I would say this year is truly the first year where I was like, you know what? I'm not doing any of that. I'm gonna just do my job, do it well, like I always do, but I'm not doing any of the extra. Like I'm just kind of done with that, and I'm going to put more of my energy into things that I enjoy doing, such as this, and I have just so many other ideas for books and e-courses, and there's a lot of other things I want to do. So I really just decided this year that um, I'm only going to do the things that I want to do. Like I said, my job now, I design training. I'm heavy in design, and I don't get to facilitate. And so if there is an opportunity, like I said, development week for my company is coming up and they needed some facilitators. So, I'm gonna do that. But other than that, I would just do my job. I'm not being in any mentoring circles and all that stuff. And so just keeping it transparent with y'all. So I totally get it. Whether you are climbing that ladder and trying to get to the top, or you like I'm chilling, you know, either way, mentors and sponsors can be beneficial for you, either way. So just keeping it real there. And so that's all I have, y'all. Like I said, um, I'm not saying that one is better than the other because you really do need both to see. The mentor is kind of that guide on the side. It's kind of how I think about it. Kind of like coaching you up so you can get better and improve your skills. And then that sponsor is the one that's just going to bust that door open and get you that next level job experience or whatever it is that you might need. So I didn't even realize this was going to be this long. I thought this was going to be like a 10 minute a 10-minute topic, because when I originally came up with the idea of mini thoughts, it was because it's mini. See what I'm saying? Like short, like 10 minutes or less. That's what I thought. I'm like, surely I can't talk any longer than that. But here I am. But anyway, I hope you guys got something out of that. And, if you know somebody that could benefit from it, feel free to share it. Feel free to comment, to like it, all that good stuff.